Hello, guys. Welcome to Fico's Corner. And on this podcast, I'll be sharing things that I've learned through my artistic journey that have helped me as an artist and helped me to improve on my craft that I think will be helpful to other aspiring artists and even working professionals as well. My name is Kofi Ofosu, and I'm your host. And if you love this podcast, don't forget to leave us a like and also don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye. Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of Fico's Corner. And on this episode, we'll be talking about fundamentals. And before we get into it, I'd just like to give you guys just a brief background as to what led to this episode. So, at the beginning of this month, I placed a question in my Instagram stories where I went ahead and asked my followers if they had any subjects or issues, art-related subjects and issues that they wanted me to talk about in my podcast. And so out of the many questions that came through, this is one of the questions that came from my follower, from one of my followers, and this is how it went. The person was like, "Hi, I'm learning the fundamentals. Do you have any tips and resources for character design?" So basically, that's the question that informed this episode, and this episode will be in two parts. Mainly in the first part, I'll be talking about fundamentals, its importance, and in the second part, I'll be going over some of the tips and resources that I have learned over the course of my journey as a character designer. So let's get into it. So in the first part of the question, the person is asking about fundamentals. Now, for me, what I've learned is that when you're studying the fundamentals of art, there are a number of key areas that you ought to cover. And mainly with these key areas, you have 1, color and light. 2, we have anatomy. 3, we have perspective. 4, there's composition. And 5, there's gesture. And for each of these, I have recommendations that you guys can check out in the form of books, which I have read personally when I was learning the fundamentals. So for color and light, the book that I'll recommend is Color and Light, A Guide for Realist Painters by James Gurney. And with all of these books that I'll be recommending, you will be able to find their titles in the show notes. So if you can't clearly hear the names of the books and their authors, fear not, you'll be able to find that information in the show notes. So from color and light, we go to anatomy, and for that, the book that I would recommend is Figure Drawing for All It's Worth by Andrew Loomis. This one is a classic. And you have Figure Drawing, Design and Invention by Hampton. And then for perspective, the books I would recommend is How to Draw by Robertson, and that's a fantastic book. It goes deep into into perspective and how to use perspective in drawing. And I mean, for me, perspective was a very tough subject, and it was very boring to me, but I felt like learning it really improved my work by leaps and bounds. And then the other recommendation, that's the book recommendation for perspective that I'd give, is Frame Perspective, Volumes 1 and 2 by Mateu, Mestre. And then after that, we have composition. And for that, the book I would recommend is Framed Ink, Drawing and Composition for Visual Storytellers by Mateu, Mestre. And then we have finally gesture drawing, and for that, the book I would recommend is Force, Dynamic Life Drawing for Animators. So these are some of the resources on the key areas, the key fundamental areas that I would recommend to any artist who wants to learn on these principles and understand them so that they'll be able to apply them in their work. So the fundamentals is very important. And for the time that I've been an artist, I've realized that every accomplished artist greatly respects the basics because these are the building blocks of what we do. You need to learn them so you know how to break them in new and refreshing ways. So there's this quote that you need to learn the rules so that you'll be able to break them. And it's true. Once you are able to learn and master the fundamental principles of art, you are able to find new and refreshing ways in which you can apply them and break them. And then also, we can liken, to further understand the importance of learning the fundamentals, we can liken it to the analogy of writing. So when you're learning to write, first you learn how to write your ABCs, then you move on and you learn how to write words and phrases. From there you move to sentences and paragraphs. Now beyond this point, you are equipped to be able to go ahead and write your own books because you've learned the basic principles of writing and grammar. And the same applies with art and drawing. Understanding the fundamentals gives you room to express your vision and ideas in whichever way and medium you desire to utilize. You no longer need to be actively thinking about their principles anymore. You just let your ideas flow onto the canvas. And now, once you understand the fundamentals, you'll be able to manipulate the knowledge that you've acquired to create the kind of images that you like, so that you're able to tell the kind of stories that you want to tell. Now, you always have to remember one thing, that if you are looking at any image, any piece of art, no matter how complex it might look, you must always remember the saying that any complex thing is made up of very simple things. I'll repeat that, any complex thing is made up of very simple things. So that even goes to buttress the point why you need to learn the basics, because any complex object is made up of the amalgamation of the simple principles, right? So that's my little rant on learning the fundamentals, some books that I recommend for the various fundamental principles of art. And so from there on, we move to some practical tips that I have used to help me to get better at character design. So the first tip is you have to draw from life as much as you can. So when I say draw from life, like your surroundings, your room, like when you go out, you are seeing the world, like the actual world that you experience and live and walk through and travel through. So what I do for me is I always carry an A6 or a small sketchbook, a very small sketchbook everywhere I go. So anytime I get the opportunity, I just sketch and draw what I'm observing, life around me, the things around me. I record what I see. And it's been a very great help because, one, it's greatly improved my draftsmanship, and two, it's helped me to be able to quickly draw down what I see in front of me. So I've been able to develop my own drawing shorthand, and that's really helped with my speed. And then the second tip that I'd like to give that helps when you want to be a character designer is you have to learn the fundamentals of character design. Even in character design, it has its own fundamental principles that you need to master in order to be a great character designer. So some of these principles include, and it's not only limited to shape, language, gesture, silhouette, and there's way more that I'll probably be covering in a subsequent episode. Now, the third tip I'll give for someone learning character design is do master studies. So a master study is where you pick the artwork of an artist that you really enjoy, and then you copy their work. So in doing master studies, for me, what I learned as a way to effectively get knowledge from your master study is that you shouldn't just copy it just for copying's sake. You should copy the work and try and break it down based on the principles you've learned. So like breaking it down based on like the anatomy. Where are the anatomical landmarks? Where's the skull? Where's the pelvis? Where's the rib cage, etc.? Breaking it down based on shapes, breaking it down based on the gesture of the character's pose, etc. So when you're doing master studies and you're copying and when you're doing a master study, one thing that helps you to assimilate the information that you're trying to learn is you break down the artist's works based on the principles that you are learning. So you can take it principle by principle. So like silhouette, you basically focus on the silhouette of the character. Then you move on to probably gesture. How is the character posed? What is the how are the different parts of the character's body aligned, etc., etc. So that's that for master studies. Then we move on to the next principle, the fourth tip, that I'd give to any character designer is that you should always surround yourself with artists and artworks that inspire you. And in our era right now, it's very easy to surround yourself with artists and artworks that inspire you, because with social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you get to see so many fantastic and awesome artists from all over the globe. And I mean, you can buy their artworks as prints, etc., and even hang it in your studio space. And even another suggestion I'd give is you should hang up your own artworks that you're really proud of in your art space. And doing that, surrounding yourself with great artists, with great artwork, it always keeps you motivated, and it always shows you the target that you want to hit in your work all the time. So always surround yourself with great artists and great artworks. And from there, the fifth and final tip that I'll give is that draw a ton. Like, you have to draw a lot, because the only way you do good drawings is by getting through your bad drawings. And you always have to remember that drawing is a skill, and as the saying goes, repetition is the mother of skill. You have to keep doing it over and over again. You need to draw over and over again in order to cement the principles that you learn. And in the Animated Survival Kit, a book by the late Richard Williams, he's a phenomenal 2D animator, and in that book he said something that really struck me. And to paraphrase what he said that there are certain things that you cannot learn by reading a book. You can only gain that knowledge through the physical activity of drawing and painting. And that's something that I found to be true. There are certain things that you can read in a book as theory, but for you to truly understand it, you actually have to practically do it. So in light of that, I'd like to give you guys an exercise that I've been doing for a while that has helped me to get better at character design. So basically what the exercise simply is that you take a picture of an individual and then you turn them into a character. So you emphasize their key features, their pose, etc. And in here, exaggeration is the key. The more you exaggerate the character's pose, their key features, etc., the better it becomes. So you should think about how you can push their shapes, the shape of the person you're turning into a character, so that you bring out their attitude and traits. And this is something that I've been doing for so long. I get reference pictures of people through Pinterest, Google search, etc. And then and even sometimes on Instagram, I see random pictures of people, and then I try and turn them into a character design. And so I try to emphasize their features that stick out to me, and then try and push certain shapes, etc., to really bring out the kind of character that I'm trying to design. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email at ficoscorners gmail. So that will be in the show notes. And then also feel free to send me questions, etc., to Ficos Corners IG Instagram account. That will also be linked in the show notes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Have a lovely day and stay awesome, guys. See you on the flip side. All right, bye.